The New Despotism by John Keane is a thought-provoking analysis of the emerging global trend of autocratic governance, offering a fresh perspective on how despotism has evolved in the 21st century. Keane, a renowned political scientist, examines the rise of regimes that appear democratic on the surface but are deeply authoritarian in practice. His work is a clarion call to understand and confront the mechanisms and allure of these new forms of power. Below is an in-depth exploration of the key themes, concepts, and arguments presented in the book. Understanding the New Despotism. Keane introduces the concept of New Despotism to describe a hybrid political system that diverges from classical authoritarianism and traditional liberal democracy. Unlike old-fashioned dictatorships, these regimes rely on a combination of coercion, propaganda, and manufactured consent to maintain their grip on power. They present themselves as democracies, holding elections and maintaining institutions like parliaments and courts, yet undermine these very structures to consolidate authority. Keane argues that new despots thrive on ambiguity and flexibility. They manipulate the symbols of democracy, ballots, public consultations, and constitutional provisions, while simultaneously eroding freedoms and concentrating power. This duality creates an illusion of legitimacy that often deceives both domestic populations and international observers. Characteristics of the New Despotism. 1. Erosion of accountability. New despots systematically dismantle mechanisms of accountability, such as independent judiciaries and free media. While maintaining the facade of democratic institutions, they fill them with loyalists, ensuring that dissenting voices are silenced or marginalized. 2. Populist rhetoric and nationalism. Keane highlights how these regimes often employ populist rhetoric to present themselves as protectors of the true people. By fostering nationalism and demonizing perceived internal and external enemies, they create a unifying narrative that justifies their authoritarian practices. Number 3. Digital surveillance and propaganda. A significant feature of the New Despotism is the strategic use of technology. Governments deploy digital surveillance tools to monitor and control citizens, while also utilizing social media and state-controlled outlets to spread propaganda. This digital dimension amplifies their power and suppresses dissent in unprecedented ways. 4. Controlled pluralism. Unlike traditional dictatorships that suppress all opposition, new despots allow a controlled degree of pluralism. They tolerate some forms of dissent to project an image of openness while ensuring that these do not threaten their hold on power. 5. Economic co-optation. Keane underscores how economic strategies play a central role in maintaining these regimes. By fostering crony capitalism and selectively distributing economic benefits, new despots create a loyal elite class while pacifying broader society through promises of stability and development. Global examples and case studies. Keane's analysis draws on examples from various parts of the world to illustrate the pervasiveness of the new despotism. Countries like Russia, China, Hungary, Turkey, and Venezuela feature prominently in his discussion. These nations exhibit varying degrees of the characteristics outlined above, showcasing the adaptability of the new despotism model. Russia under Vladimir Putin. Russia exemplifies a regime that manipulates democratic institutions while exercising tight control over political opposition and media. The state's propaganda apparatus fosters nationalist sentiments and positions Putin as a strongman indispensable to the nation's stability. China. Keane examines how the Chinese Communist Party has embraced the tools of the new despotism. From sophisticated digital surveillance to extensive censorship, the regime ensures compliance while promoting a vision of economic progress and national pride. Hungary. Viktor Orban's Hungary is another case study, where the ruling party has undermined judicial independence, curtailed press freedom, and manipulated electoral processes under the guise of democracy. Why does the new despotism appeal? One of the book's most compelling arguments is its exploration of why new despotism resonates with many people. Keane suggests that these regimes offer a sense of security and stability in an increasingly uncertain world. By presenting themselves as defenders of tradition, order, and national identity, they tap into deep-seated fears and anxieties. Moreover, the decline of trust in liberal democratic institutions has created fertile ground for the rise of new despots. Economic inequality, political polarization, and disillusionment with traditional elites have made many citizens receptive to alternative models of governance. The fragility of the new despotism. Despite their apparent strength, Keane emphasizes that new despotic regimes are inherently fragile. Their reliance on propaganda, coercion, and controlled dissent makes them vulnerable to unexpected shocks and resistance. Economic crises, social movements, and international pressures can expose their weaknesses and lead to their downfall. Keane warns, however, that such regimes often resort to heightened repression in the face of challenges, making their collapse both uncertain and potentially dangerous. The role of civil society. A recurring theme in the New Despotism is the importance of civil society in resisting authoritarianism. Keane calls for renewed efforts to strengthen democratic institutions, protect independent media, and foster civic engagement. He argues that only a vigilant and active citizenry can prevent the spread of new despotism and ensure the survival of democratic values. Implications for the future. Keane's work raises urgent questions about the future of democracy in the face of rising authoritarianism. He challenges readers to rethink traditional notions of democracy and develop strategies to counter the allure of new despotism. This requires a global effort to address the root causes of political disillusionment, from economic inequality to cultural alienation. Criticisms and controversies. While the New Despotism has been widely praised for its insightful analysis, some critics argue that Keane's framework lacks nuance in distinguishing between different types of authoritarian regimes. Others contend that his solutions, while compelling, are overly optimistic given the entrenched nature of many new despotisms. Nevertheless, the book remains a crucial contribution to contemporary political discourse, offering a nuanced and accessible exploration of one of the most pressing challenges of our time. The New Despotism by John Keane is a landmark work that sheds light on the subtle yet profound transformations occurring in global politics. By unpacking the mechanisms and appeal of modern authoritarian regimes, Keane equips readers with the tools to recognize and resist these threats. His call to action serves as both a warning and a source of hope, emphasizing that the defense of democracy is a collective responsibility. As the world grapples with the challenges of the 21st century, the New Despotism provides a vital roadmap for understanding and confronting the forces that seek to undermine freedom and justice. It is a must-read for anyone concerned about the future of democracy and the preservation of human rights in an increasingly volatile world.